Good evening and welcome to today's webinar on raising responsible teenagers. We are very happy that all of you have joined us today, and we hope and pray that your health is good or your family's health is good in this COVID pandemic time. And we are very happy that you have joined. This is a continuation webinar. Actually, you can find in our channel the previous month we have given a talk on a similar subject, parenting styles to raise responsible teens part 1. And in that we covered some styles, and today we'll be covering the remaining things. So actually we were supposed to have the guest speaker, Mr. B. Janardhan Reddy, but I think he is not here yet. So before having him speak, I think we'll start with okay. So I think sir will be joining us shortly. I'll just introduce sir. Meanwhile, he'll be with us. Sir has actually joined civil services in 1996. He has rendered various notable services in different positions. So he has held the position of GHMC Commissioner, Hyderabad, HMDA Commissioner, and he has also worked as the Secretary of Education to the government of Telangana. And then he has worked as the Principal Secretary of Agriculture Department. And currently, sir has been given an additional assignment by the government of Telangana to head the Telangana Public Service Commission. So this is actually our chief guest. We are very fortunate to have with us Dr. B. Janardhan Reddy. And I think he will be with us very shortly. Yeah.
I will also welcome Giridhar. You can give me the stage. Okay, so a warm welcome and good evening to everybody who is watching this program live, and I hope that you have been having a very good journey with Arjuna, where we are every month adding a lot of parenting wisdom to this world. एक बात मैं आपको अभी शुरुआत में बताना चाहूंगा, इससे पहले कि हमारे गेस्ट चीफ गेस्ट आपको आज कुछ बताएंगे. They will give you some wisdom today, and then after that I will also continue the program. उससे पहले मैं एक व्यक्ति से बात कर रहा था, और we are also seeing some certain research which is done by various people all across the world for parenting. तो आज के 21st century में, whether you are living in the east or whether you are living in the west or whichever place of the world you are living, parenting teenagers has especially become a challenge. देखो, एक चीज जो सबसे challenging, सबसे नया है, सबसे अलग है, which has never been addressed, the problems which the parents are facing today while parenting their teenagers are quite unique in the sense that today in our world we have so much of internet, we have so much of the media devices, social media, which is just recent. ये अभी कुछ ही एक decade, 2 decade पहले का ही है. This is just a recent thing. So you can say that it's a craze around the world. And also today's generation is very different from the other generations, because we also have people who have achieved a certain level of affluence. The generations before us, many of the people, because of the Second World War, first there was First World War, then there is Second World War, and after that, the whole economy had actually gone down, and everywhere, whether east, west, north or south, people were actually struggling to make their living. Right? So there was a lot of struggle on this planet Earth, as far as just making the two ends meet, and a lot of difficult times, and parents basically were working very hard, in their different jobs to just actually make their livelihood. But today, the worlds have changed. As many people say that this is one of the most peaceful times which we have enjoyed on the planet Earth, actually, right? Where there are no world wars. Of course, this pandemic has come just recently. So this is a different challenge altogether. But talking before this, up to the, let's say 2020, so it's a time of relative peace where there are no world wars, etc. The jobs and professions have become quite stable, and people are able to achieve a good level of affluence, a good level of income by not so much working hard. So there is free time. That's how this generation is different from the previous generations. That people do have affluence actually today. The facilities which each and every one of us enjoy, we have AC, we have cars, we have so many facilities actually. That makes us quite different from the previous generations. And specifically from the viewpoint of the children don't have to see their parents struggle a lot. है ना, आजकल हमारे बच्चे हमको ऐसा बहुत अधिक स्ट्रगल करते हुए नहीं देखते हैं, because our lives are relatively peaceful compared to the previous generations where the life was much more struggle and the facilities are much more lesser. So that's one thing which sets apart it arises different set of challenges, क्योंकि शायद हमारे बच्चों को वो स्ट्रगल कभी दिखता नहीं है, तो when they come to teenagers, they don't have a right vision of life. So previously, you just take 150 years before, 200 years before, actually children were involved into professions, etc., of their own parents right when they were 7 or 8 years old actually. So you would find that typically a family has 7 children, 6 children, 8 children, 10 children, 12 children, like that, all across the globe. And the more number of children were beneficial for the family. Why? Because there are more hands to actually earn the bread, as they say, to engage in the profession. Somebody is doing farming, somebody is doing business, somebody is doing whatever, weaving, this and that. So the professions were of different nature. The family sizes were bigger. The affluence was much lesser. The struggle was much more. The reality of life came to the children much early on. And therefore, when they came to the teenage, they didn't have this kind of, this entitlement mentality, taking everything cheaply. That mentality was much lesser in the parents, in the children when they became teenagers earlier. अब आजकल के जनरेशन में क्योंकि क्या होता है, you don't have any much struggle. They don't even see their parents struggling so much. The children are not struggling so much. There is so much of affluence and facilities. So therefore, there is a big difference between what real life is and what life the children experience till the time they come to 15 or 16 or 18 years of age. There is a huge amount of difference. मैं अभी कई सारे lectures teenagers को देता हूँ. That is what that's what I'm engaging into. That's what I'm working into. So every week I engage with so many teenagers and so many adults, adolescents, so many youths of this country. So when I was talking about the pandemic, this is one thing which I was telling, that for people, those who are having a real vision towards life, मतलब किसी को अगर real vision towards life है, so they will not be so much jolted by this pandemic which has come. Because life is filled with struggles actually, right? It's filled with struggles. For if you are all parents who are hearing this program, you all know in various ways life is filled with struggle. We definitely would want life to be like a paradise for each and every one of us, but while staying in this world, each and every one of us know that there are problems, there are challenges, there are struggles, there are difficulties, and only 20% of the time the things go according to our plan. 80% of the times things don't go according to as we plan. That's what life is all about, you see. So I was telling this to the children, and most of them were not able to relate with this. The reason being that the parents have really worked hard to give a very good life to their children, but the problem has become that they have been far away from the reality of the world. See, look at today in India. Most of us, most of you, those who have come to this program, think about this. Have you ever engaged your child in some sort of economic activity, or was there ever a need for you, or whether you ever wanted that your child should be earning their bread, etc., before they have become 16 or 17? Definitely not, right? They're enjoying life. Rather, you want to make their life as easy as possible, isn't it? So you want to give them gadgets, you want to give them what do you call, cycle, or later even bikes, or scooty. You want to give some of you can afford a car, so you actually also give them a car when they become 18 or whatever, right? So you want to give them the best of the facilities, the best of the schools, the best of everything, the air conditioner, the heaters, what not, right? So have they ever gone through the real life? No, they have gone through a protected life. It's like the parents have been protecting me, and all the problems of the world are shielded by the parents. So इसके वजह से मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि अच्छा है बुरा है. Of course, the parents are having a lot of sincerity to give good life to the children. In fact, we should congratulate such parents who are really working hard to give good life to their children. I want to add to this a viewpoint. I'm not saying this is wrong, but I want to add to this a viewpoint that probably we have to involve our teenagers also in some sort of activities where they could see the real life, where there are struggles, where there are challenges, where there are problems. So one of the things which I always suggest to the parents is take your child along with you, take your teenager along with you and do some volunteering work, right? Or allow them to do some volunteering work in a NGO or social service organizations or NSS or whatever. So like we as Arjuna have been launching a various projects of social service. And when we find that those teenagers, those early adults, when they come to us and when they engage us in the social service program, actually their vision of life becomes much, much better. And they start seeing the reality of life. And the reality of life is that, we are fortunate ones if we have so many means of livelihood. एक बच्चा जो कि आराम से पढ़ाई कर सकता है एक स्कूल में, जिसको कि कुछ करना नहीं पड़ रहा कमाने के लिए, उसको कितना ग्रेटिट्यूड होना चाहिए, how much gratitude that child should have for the parents who are actually making his life easy. Now, how could this reality come to surface? This reality can only come to surface when they see the real world. And for them to be able to see the real world, they have to interact with people, right? You should not keep them so safe in your homes, right? That you never let them go out and see the real world. So of course it has to happen in a guided way. So therefore what I suggest is that for having that guided, experience of this world, real world, there should be some social exchanges, a service exchange with the society, and the NGOs, etc., are very well, are the best places where you could actually help your child to get this experience. Some schools also offer this experience in some when they have some social service projects through the school. Like we are also engaging as Arjuna with various schools to give them social service projects. संसार में हमें देखना है कि हमें कुछ मिल रहा है, तो उसके लिए हमारे हृदय के अंदर ग्रेटिट्यूड रहना चाहिए। ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टीचिंग आप बच्चों को जरूर दीजिएगा। रियल लाइफ में उनको ये एक्सपीरियंस करने दीजिए कि स्ट्रगल्स होते हैं। उनके लाइफ को इतना आसान मत बनाओ कि वो परेशान हो जाएं जब वो ग्रो अप हो। उनको पता ही ना चले कि भाई देयर इज सो मच चैलेंजेस एंड एक्चुअली हाउ मच यू हैव वर्कड हार्ड टू एक्चुअली गिव देम द गुड लाइफ, राइट? तो ये I'm just taking a little time before our chief guest actually comes in. But yes, it's related to parenting and parenting styles. So don't guard your children so much. That's what I would suggest. That's one of the challenges. That's one of the ways to actually handle this challenge. Second thing is about the social media. Actually, this is the first generation. Our teenagers or the adults in this world, it's the first generation engaging with internet and media so much. Like our generation, if you see the parents' generation, I remember that we didn't have any phones, right? When you and me were teenagers, did we have phones? Did we have mobiles? Nothing. We had this, of course. I had to go to PCO, to actually ring a call to anybody I wanted, And I still remember when I was studying in IIT Kharagpur hostel and staying over there, so many thousands of kilometers away from my parents. So when I had to call my parents, I had to wait for 1 hour. 1 hour in the queue to actually call my parents, because all of us, there were in my hostel there were 600 students, so anyway, so many of them would come and there was one PC. There was one mobile one phone over there, landline phone, and there's so many people actually. So we have seen that, right? We have seen that struggle, we have seen that difficulties. But today's generation, oh my god, I mean, gone are the days when you and me, we would write letters to our parents and others, right? आपको याद होगा, चिट्ठी लिखते थे अपन. We would write the letter. I still remember, I would get the letter, write the letter, etc. I'm sure all of you would be remembering. But today we have message, instant message, WhatsApp, So, I mean, this is the first generation of children who are engaging so much with so much information, so much internet, media, etc. तो आजकल लोग बहुत चस्का लगा हुआ है लोगों को. चस्का समझते हैं ना? चस्का, like there is some fad. It has become a fashion. Oh, my child is having a smartphone, and then even the children also start demanding it too much. Oh, parents, if you love me, get me that phone, get me that net, and get me this and get me that. देखो, हम सभी पेरेंट्स को ये समझना चाहिए कि इंटरनेट और सोशल मीडिया का ये जो जमाना है ना, we will ourselves come to conclusion that it is so much of exposure is not good actually. I have seen that children as small as 3 or 4 have started getting email IDs. They know how to use WhatsApp and they have so much of access to all this social media. So it's a concern actually. Don't think that your child has become over smart or extra smart just because of having a smartphone. Actually, it could be harming them more than helping them. I don't deny the use of technology, which is very, very good, and it should be done and it should be used for the welfare of our children. But ये जो एक फैशन चल गया है ना कि मैं अपने बच्चे को मोबाइल दे रहा हूँ एज ए बर्थडे गिफ्ट एंड द लेटेस्ट वन एंड द आईफोन और ये आजकल क्या क्या नहीं आ गया अभी इंस्टा ये ये प्रोफाइल ये दिस एंड दैट. So please note that the top parenting experts will always caution you over your child's engagement with social media. So they go away from the real world again. So one way we have shielded them already from the reality by not letting them experience the difficulties of the world. On top of that, we also have the social media which does not allow them to start meeting people. I mean, back in our time, children of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of age, they would be always playing on the playground. But today they're always present with the mobiles and phones, right? So as they say that internet has become the new playground. I mean, if you want to play cricket, you have the game on the internet, and there are people who are sitting on the laptop and they're playing cricket, you see. So I mean, that's not what we want our generation of children to go through, right? That much of exposure is not good for them. Maybe in half an hour of exposure, maximum to maximum, you should allow, you should in fact encourage your children to actually go out in the playground, etc. Play. Of course, the pandemic times are different. I'm not talking about this pandemic time specifically that you send your child out. No, but maybe in your own way, engage with your child and play. Maybe go on the terrace, maybe go on the street, and whichever friends, etc. You are confident that you can allow your child to meet in this pandemic time. So play around with together in the streets. I've seen in a lot of streets, people are playing. Even the adults are also coming out. They're bored, sitting inside. They will play racket. They'll play so many things. So I mean, physical games, physical activity, physical people, physical relationships. अरे एक्सपीरियंस कराओ भाई, अपने बच्चे को ये सब एक्सपीरियंस करने दो. ये जब सोशल मीडिया, ये जो मोबाइल वगैरह, ये स्मार्ट खाली वो बिजनेसमैन को बनाता है, आपके बच्चे को उल्टा डल बना देता है. Nowadays I am seeing that 10 years old को I don't want to name, but 10 years old, they are advertising that please teach him coding and this and that. अरे वो 10 साल के बच्चे को अपना चाइल्डहुड एक्सपीरियंस करने दो भाई. तो इतना जल्दी क्या है, बहुत कुछ कर लेगा. अरे हम IITian है भाई, हम लोग भी जानते हैं क्या कोडिंग होता है, क्या नहीं होता है, किस एज पे सिखाना चाहिए, किस एज पे नहीं सिखाना चाहिए. You ask us. So lot of business is going around your child. There are a lot of businessmen wanting to get the attention of your child and money from your pocket. So beware of this, this age of technology and age of this fashionable. It has become so fashionable to coding. अभी ऐप बनाएगा बच्चा, अरे भाई बाहर जाकर के खेलने दो उसको, ऐप बाद में बना देगा, हम सिखा देंगे, हमारे पास आएगा. फ्री में सिखा देगा उसको, कुछ नहीं है, बहुत बड़ी चीज नहीं है. Arjuna Group is already doing a lot of social work, and surely many of our so many people, those who are with us, such intelligent people, we can teach your child. It's not a very big deal. मगर वो human involvement, वो शायद ना मैं सिखा पाऊंगा ना आप सिखा पाओगे अगर एज चला गया. That ability to be in a team, that ability to understand the that I am not the boss, I am not the king, and that humility of learning humility while interacting with others, and differences of opinions, and not taking that seriously, and still enjoying life and growing up with differences of opinions. भाई ये सब तुम बाद में नहीं सिखा पाओगे, समझ रहे हैं ना. और जो फिजिकल हेल्थ के ऊपर इफेक्ट होता है वो, और दैट आल्सो, उसका क्या होगा. सो दैट थिंग इफ यू लूज नाउ, जब वो बेचारा 10 साल का है, 12 साल का, ये लूज कर दिया, तो बाद में तुम क्या करोगे. So this technology and thing, you can teach them later. That Steve Jobs and many of this founders of this technology, social media and other technology, they pay extra money to send their children to schools where there is no exposure to internet, where there is no exposure to smartphones, where there is no exposure to laptops, etc. They spend more money to send their children in such schools where there is no exposure to all of this. Why? because they know that this whole technology basically slackens down the mind speed of thinking. It reduces your ability to interact with the real world. It reduces your ability to interact with the human beings around you. तो इसीलिए अपने बच्चों के फैशन मत बनाओ अपने बच्चे के लिए कि कोडिंग का कोर्स कराएंगे। अरे 10 साल का बच्चा है, 12 साल का बच्चा है, एंजॉय करने दो लाइफ को, खेलने दो थोड़ा, यू नो। सब लोग कोडिंग के लिए बने भी नहीं है, पहली बात तो, यू नो। So that's what I'm writing in my book also a lot, that we don't consider that as fashion. So this is second thing which I want to say, that these are challenges which were never there before. These challenges are so much present today, and we need to deal with these challenges. And therefore dear parents, अगर ये वीडियो आप सर्कुलेट नहीं करेंगे, आप नहीं देखेंगे, आप सर्कुलेट नहीं करेंगे, problems in this society will keep increasing. Millions of children every day are getting wrong advice from their parents and wrong advice from their well-wishers because they don't know the reality. ये जो एक फैशन चल गया है, बहुत गलत चल गया है, इसको हमें समझना है, इसको हमें समझाना है, हमें एक अच्छा जनरेशन बनाना है, हमारे चिल्ड्रन को एक अच्छा फ्यूचर उनके लिए बनाना है। तो इसीलिए आपको क्या करना है, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट टुडे द पेरेंट्स लर्न अबाउट द पेरेंटिंग विजडम। इस विजडम को आज आप अपने मम्मी पापा से, यानी कि आपके बच्चों के दादा दादी और नाना नानी से नहीं सीख पाओगे, क्योंकि वो जनरेशन डिफरेंट था, वो that generation was different, they didn't have these kind of challenges. So it is very crucial that for 21st century challenges, that 21st century people have to tell you how to actually engage in the right parental relationship with your children. Now I think that our chief guest for the day has actually arrived, and I would request the Giridhar to actually host him up and engage him with the audience, and then I'll continue my speech. Thank you very much. Hope you will enjoy. Especially we have Mr. Janardhan Reddy, a very esteemed speaker of the day for all of you. He has engaged a lot with many children and given them so much of valuable advice in his own career as an IAS officer. And today he's also going to speak with all of you about the parenting wisdom. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
You can take.
Yeah, thank you, Amal sir. That was actually very interesting how you brought out so many things from the modern context, parenting wisdom. And once again, actually, I'd like to welcome Mr. Janardhan, Dr. Janardhan, who has joined us. I had already introduced, but I'll just quickly once again give some brief introduction. He joined the civil services in 1996, and he rendered various notable services such as being the GHMC commissioner in Hyderabad, HMDA commissioner. Sir has also worked as the Secretary of Education to the government of Telangana, and now he's the Principal Secretary of Agriculture Department. And currently, he has also been given an additional assignment by the government of Telangana to head Telangana Public Service Commission. So actually, Dr. Janardhan, we are very fortunate to have you. I don't want to take any more time. I'll quickly hand over the mic to you, and I'm sure we are very eager to hear from you and learn something from you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. In fact, congratulations for organizing this type of orientation to the parents. So the topic is very relevant, and today's youth, especially in India, they are at crossroads, either in rural area or urban area, semi-urban area, etc. Like what they have to study, what they have to do, what are the role clarity. There is a lot of confusion because our culture is different from Western culture. Our old culture is different from what they are witnessing today, and cross-cutting osmosis that is happening. And there is no role model, and there is no code of conduct which is universal, number one, and also liked by all, number two. So different parents and different neighborhoods, different cultures, different in different states, they expect their children to grow in different styles. But the common thread is what should be the guiding principles. Number one, to guide the children. Whether parents can guide at all, that is also another question. So in olden days, either parents or grandparents or the teachers or the in ashram schools, there was a single direction and single instruction that was going to them. Now today's children are exposed to various cultures, various ideas, various concepts. So that is also very important paradigm shift in the lives of the today's children. So any parent like their children, parents like their children to grow up and be responsible and live on their own and have respect to the parents and other relatives, and then have some patriotism to the country and be in a productive sector. And mostly they want them to earn more and to earn dignity and respect, etc., to the family and to the country. That's the normal expectation. In olden days, 30 years back, 40 years back, 50 years back, it was very, very difficult to enroll children to the schools. Now, thanks to the awareness, 100% enrollment is happening right now. Enrollment 100% is there, but dropout rates are very, very high. Absenteeism in school is very, very high. If you are a parent from the rural area or parent working, and your neighbors or your workers who are parents and they are working, and if you observe the attendance percentage in any school in India, as per Amartya Sen, is 25% absenteeism on any given day. Only 75% of the students are presenting themselves. So why? What are they doing on these 25% of the students? What are they doing? Why they are not attending the schools, etc.? It's a big question. It is a uh, subject for analysis. Sorry, I'm getting some phone call.
So till sir joins us back, I'll just like to inform everyone that these parenting webinars that we are conducting are actually based on a very, very interesting book called Parenting Teenagers for Wholesome Success. This book is still under work. It is being written by Mr. Amal sir, and it's almost complete. And I think we'll be releasing this book from Arjuna's side very soon, within this month or the next month. So at the end of this webinar, we'll actually be releasing some forms for you to be able to download, to be able to pre-book this book, so that whenever it is released, you'll be given a notification so that you get to know more about this. And this is a really amazing work. It is thoroughly researched. It combines a lot of parenting wisdom from literatures across the world, and it is specially tailored for Indian parents to deal with the situations and challenges that you will face when you are dealing with your teenagers. What are the attitudes you should be having? What are the ways in which you should be giving feedback to your teenager? What is better? Is it, if you want to help them understand something, should you punish them? Should you criticize them? Should you encourage them? What is the best way to deal with different situations? All of these very crucial and critical questions will be addressed in this book, and in a very interesting fashion. They will be in the form of abundant case studies. There will be a lot of situations being described. There'll be a lot of places where you will be asked to reflect. And if you seriously read this book, it can be a very transformational journey for you, and therefore for your child as well. So this is something that we are trying to bring out for the benefit of all parents in India. And Dr. Janardhan sir has joined us again, so I'll hand over the mic to him.
Thank you. First of all, to bring out such a book, many such books have been attempted in the past, and it is relevant. It is all contextual. Same book, had it been written 10 years back, or same book had it been written 20 years back, and today you are attempting such book with modern inputs and old cultural and ethos and values. It will be very interesting. I congratulate you for undertaking this particular job. And two, three observations as education secretary. And also in the past, I happened to visit around 2,000 schools, and I interacted with around a lakh of children, 1 lakh children in various districts and various states. In Andhra Pradesh, United Andhra Pradesh, and then Telangana, and in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, and also in some of the schools I visited in South Africa and the US. So what I found is most of the students, they do not have any analytical test like what is their aptitude, what is their attitude, what is their intelligence, and how much hard work they have done, whether consistent hard work has been done or not. But they are not able to match with the parents' aspirations. Parents' aspirations are touching the sky, and students' achievement is on the ground. So how do we really match them? So right from the class one, they have to be very consistent and regular to the schools, number one, and their listening habits have to be changed, number two, and they have to actively involve in the learning process. Just merely going to school from 10 a.m. to 5 o'clock and coming back will not work. So physical attendance is as important as mental, but they have to actively participate. And then once they come home, and they should also be encouraged to do a lot of extracurricular activities. And sport has been ignored a lot for all these years, in fact. And for having a wholesome life, develop a full personality. In fact, children also should be encouraged to play. And then children of illiterate parents, children of educated parents, children of business people, children of government employees, children of contractors, children of political whatever people who are in the politics, etc. The respective professions also will have tremendous influence on them, either to follow the footprints of their parents or not to follow at all. A child of a drunkard parent, sometimes if there are two children, one will follow the parent, another will not follow the parent, because you would have seen how the parent who is drunk, life has been spoiled and his health has been spoiled, etc. So I think when you are attempting a book, it has to address which children and which parents you are addressing. Whether it uniformly you are trying to evolve certain principles for the parents, and only mere parenting will mold the child. And how do you really prevent the influences or facilitate the influences of the externalities like external culture and social media, WhatsApp, internet, and then the neighbors, the schools, then peer group, and the teachers and their parents, their seniors, juniors, and elsewhere, whatever is happening in the entire world, etc. It's a very, very important stage at which we are. So I congratulate the Arjun group to attempt all these things. And a small experiment what we did is, there was an IIT professor from Madras for model schools. We conducted psychoanalytic test, basically to find out their aptitude. It was different in each district. It was different from gender to gender. It was different from class to class. If 8th class students had a lot of preference to become, say, for example, police officers, 9th class students did not follow the suit. And 10th class students were conducted this test and given this test, their aptitude was totally different. And in intermediate, their aptitude was totally different. Therefore, the parents' aspiration itself is not important. The students' ability and intelligence, hard work, and his aspiration, and consistent hard work and time, and the base in which he is working and in which culture he is working are very, very important. And whether somebody wants to go for a business, somebody wants to go abroad, somebody wants to do social service, or somebody wants to be an NGO, or somebody wants to be a nurse, somebody wants to be a teacher, it should be left to the student. But all these factors should be taken into account when his future career assessment actually has been done. So when you put some questions, I can answer them, or else I will also be participating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insights. I think now I'd like to hand over the mic back to Mr. Amal, sir, who can actually share a lot of wisdom from his research on parenting literatures, as well as his own experiences, and from various sources he integrates. And he has been helping students for over 3 lakh. He has been helping over 3 lakh students for over 12 years. So he has a lot of experience in dealing with teenagers, and I'm sure that he'll be able to enlighten you a lot in the best parenting styles for raising responsible teenagers. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank Janardhan sir to give his time to all of us, despite his very, very busy schedule. Being he's still in the office. I mean, he's still in the IAS office, and with so much of responsibility, which a civil servant has, and so much of responsibility which is sharing for the government and doing so much of welfare work. Yet today he actually took out his time for all of us. I consider it as like a privilege for Arjuna Group and privilege for myself. In fact, when we discussed last time, sir was very eager to actually come forward and extend himself for the service of the parents. In fact, he was very much feeling that this is so important to organize the programs and give the education, give the right knowledge to the parents to tackle the problems which were never there earlier. As I began this whole program with, if you were with me little 20 minutes before, so I talked about that the challenges which we as parents are facing today, they were never there before. So even if even if you have the your grandparents to ask what to do, even if you have a good friend circle of yours to actually discuss about parenting, even if you have you yourself are quite wise person and you can tackle the problems of life yourself, yet our experiences do not match the problems which are coming today. So therefore we do need a lot of inputs to give the best parenting to our children, especially the teenage, as we are talking about. Because I talked about that, see how we have shielded our teenagers from the real life. Never before was it possible, because the economic status, economy of the whole world, as well as the facilities, etc., which were there, they were not there. We were not living with affluence, we were not living with facilities, we were not living with internet, we were not living with the globalized communities, right? So today we are living, and therefore we have shielded our children from all the difficulties. And I don't say that's wrong, it's definitely a very good sincerity of the parent to actually give the very comfortable atmosphere to the child. Yet if we do not do something to at least have a guided understanding of the realities of this world for our teenagers, it will actually bounce back on us. It will create so many challenges. I see so many parents coming to me and saying that I don't know why the teenagers are so ungrateful. Why are they not understanding the gifts which we are giving to them? I see so many teachers talking to them. This is the common complaint of the parents, common complaint of the teachers whom I interact with. So many people say that other day one of the parent was telling me that please tell my child how I am working hard for my child, and why he is taking for granted, still he is not having a good relationship with me. So these have become so common today, right? And I'm sure you are facing the challenges. The problem is this part of challenges your grandparents cannot tell you how to tackle, right? The parents, etc., your parents, they cannot tell you how to tackle this. Your friends, etc., they cannot help you how to tackle this. For this we'll have to use the wisdom of the research which has been done by the psychologists on the teenage group, which is ongoing, and then we can get certain inputs. And this is what I'm writing on this book. The review copy, as we showed to you, the review copy is released for getting inputs from many parents across India. I've already sent this to few, and also to actually get the lot of inputs. Now this is editing phase going on, and today I'm discussing from this book itself. It's of paramount importance, dear parents. Please come every every month, the Sunday which we actually speak about parenting of teenagers. It can really help you. इस वीडियो को सर्कुलेट कीजिए, दूसरे पेरेंट्स को इनवाइट कीजिए. ये बहुत क्रिटिकल है समझना कि पेरेंटिंग कैसे करते हैं टीनेजर्स का, एक इस तरीके से कि आपका जो प्रेम जा रहा है अपने पेरेंट्स, अपने चिल्ड्रन के प्रति, the love which you are actually giving to your children should not be harming them in some way. What do I mean by harm? It should not create some undue another consequence which you never wanted. And therefore, let me now take you to the presentation which I made for you, the 4 parenting styles which Dina Baumrind had actually discovered many decades ago, which are quite relevant today also. And I'll discuss these parenting styles in the present context, how the parents might be using. देखो, आप सब पेरेंटिंग कर रहे हो, आपका एक इंडिविजुअल स्टाइल है. यू ऑल हैव अ इंडिविजुअल स्टाइल ऑफ पेरेंटिंग. I will now discuss about the 4 parenting styles, and you can look at that maybe sometimes you are using one of these parenting styles and sometimes you might be using some another parenting style. So आप इस सब का मिक्स कर रहे होगे, but हम जानना चाहते हैं आज के प्रोग्राम के एंड तक कि what could be the best parenting style to engage with a teenager. ठीक है? I am not saying that this program is the end of our talks. This program is probably the beginning of our talks. And therefore, in the future programs, there are many more important aspects which we will be sharing. But suffice you to say, this is a very good beginning to know about parenting styles. So let me share with you my presentation, which I made for all of you. Last month, if you came and attended this program, we discussed about the concept of mirroring. You see, the children grow in the image of their parents. I'll revise for a few minutes what I spoke in the last program, and in the when if you came on the Sunday which I gave it last month, so I'll just revise it. So I talked about the concept of mirroring. Whatever you find in yourself, right, you will find that getting reflected in your children. अगर आप में कुछ अच्छाइयां हैं, so I gave you a mathematics, parenting mathematics, that anything good in you will go half in your child, in your teenager, and anything bad in you will go double, will multiply 2 times in the teenager. If you have short tempered nature, अगर आप गुस्सा ज्यादा करते हो, तो आप पाओगे कि it will have an impact on your child. The child will understand that when he or she is under stress, he should also shout, he should also go berserk, or lack emotional control. So aapke responses say, the response which you give to different situations in life, they're also teaching, they're also becoming the basis of how your children will respond to those situations when they grow up. Correct? If you do not accept your mistakes when somebody points out, correct, you basically want to not accept them, and you simply try to shield yourself and you justify even though you are wrong, then this is what your children also learn. Correct? They don't see the context in which you have placed your behavior, but they learn from the behavior. If like for example, if a parent, say a phone call came from say one of the customers, and the father does not want to lift that, the father doesn't want to entertain that call, so he may ask the mother of the child, hey, suno sunti ho, you pick up the call and tell that no, I am away, I am not at home today, I am somewhere out. Now your wife may actually pick up the call and say the father is not there, and the child is hearing this, and the child is seeing everything. And what is the child going to learn? The child is going to learn that if I don't want to face a situation, I can speak lies, I can go away from that, I can run away from the situation. So now, of course, the parent might be under some pressure, that's why he is not lifting up the call. But the example of the parent will go inside the heart of the child. Please understand, this is the concept of mirroring. All that which you are going to teach that to your children, right? That's what will happen. If you have some good qualities in you, say if you extend yourself, I was speaking with one child, I was asking that what is the best thing which you like in your mother? I was one of the teenager boy, we were discussing, and I asked, tell me something good about your mother. What do you like in your mother? And his eyes got lit up, and he said, my mother is very kind. I said, really? Tell me how, why do you feel your mother is kind? And he said that, when she goes for the marketing, etc., she makes a point to bring something home to actually give it to those who are in need. She just does not bring the goods for us, the family, but also for few others who are maybe poor, who are living nearby us, and to give them something. And I so much like this quality in my mother. Now, you know what? The mother might not say to the child that, beta, you should be selfless. Beta, you should be kind on others. Beta, you should be compassionate on others. But the example of the mother has gone in the heart of the child, and that child will definitely show kindness in his own way. Not that the child will also go into the market and bring more grocery to give to the neighbors or something, or those who are in need. Correct? That he may not learn. He may have kindness in his own way. Similarly, if the father, let's say the example which I took, the father is trying to run away from a difficult situation and speaking a lie to a customer that I am not there at home, tell to that customer that I'm not, or to tell to the boss that I'm not at home, or whatever, then the child also learns to run away from the situation. By looking at this example, he wants to run away. He learns that I can also run away from the situation. I can also speak a lie. It's not that he is going to also, when he grows up, he is going to tell his wife, that tell the customer I am not there. But in his own way, he will start speaking lie with the parents. He will start speaking lie with others. he will start probably speaking live with the teachers. So he will say, he will not go to the school and he will say, I am sick, although he may not be sick. Or he may not complete the homework and go to the madam and say, madam, actually yesterday there was problem at home, and that's why I could not do the homework. But actually, the reality could be that there was no problem. He just forgot or he didn't do the homework. So he could speak lies because of the wrong example of the father. So, dear parents, you should know the weight of responsibility you carry when you are there in the home. When your children are watching you, they are like CCTV cameras. Kuch chutta nahi hai. I mean, what the CCTV cameras are famous for? They are famous for catching the odd incidences, So the odd incidences where you might feel like, I don't want to teach my child. Many of the times, that is what is caught by the child. So remember parenting maths. Remember the formula of a mirror, that you as a parent are going to, your children are going to mirror you. They are going to mirror you, right? So the parenting math says that if you have something good in you, 50% of it will be going inside your children. And if you have something bad in you, double of it can be seen in the children. So don't, whenever you see something wrong in your children, take responsibility of it. Probably because it is you who actually taught him in some way or other, right? So let me go ahead in the slides to just revise. This is a very critical point, so therefore I give few examples here. Children go in the image of their parents. So, for example, how do they learn to smoke? If the parents are found smoking in the house, the children feel like it's normal to smoke. If the parents are addicted to their mobiles, if the parents, so have you seen this? That if you love to be spending time, a lot of time on social media, etc., then your children also looking at you, they will also start doing it. They will not understand what is their appropriate age at which they should engage with social media. Seeing you addicted to the media, you are actually spending so much of time, they will think that, yeah, this is good because my parents are doing it, I should also do. Now you may keep instructing your child, beta, it's not for you, it's only for big people, it's only for adults, it's not for your small child. But those things don't go inside the mind of the children. They mirror you, they copy you, they see you as an example and they learn from you, whether good or bad. That depends on you, right? So therefore, these are few examples. Let's go ahead. You will learn a lot today. If you want to know who you are, look at your child. Therefore, I say this. If there is something, so much of good in you, it will get reflected in your children. If there is something bad in you, that's also going to reflect in your children. So therefore, that's one of the ways to gauge yourself. Yeah. And therefore, I talked about the example of Shivaji Maharaj and his mother and father. How did they parent him? I'm not going to go into the case study again. If you want to learn, if you want to know this case study, आप मेरा पिछला program देख सकते हैं parenting के ऊपर. I have given in details of the case study. But the lessons we learned were here, that we should give the right heroes to the children. Shivaji had the heroes like Rama and Krishna and Arjuna and Bhima. They were his heroes because the mother used to read the Mahabharata and Ramayana daily with the child. So therefore he got the right heroes. Now today, if you see some movies with your children and they see so many different things and they want to become like some hero in the film, and they may actually start boozing and they think that having a girlfriend is good, having a boyfriend is good, or boozing around is good, or wearing shorts is very good. All these things they learn from you only when you spend time with them, giving them their heroes. So how are you engaging your child at home? What are they seeing? What are their inputs? It becomes very important for us to actually consider. I know many parents, they tell me that before they had children, they were probably watching television, etc., a lot in the home. But they tell me, many parents who tell me that, okay, I might have not got the right parenting or whatever, so I actually got to, I'm seeing now this television, etc. I don't know what is the best way to spend time, but at least for my parents, I'll stop watching this television. There are many parents who say that for the sake of the children, for the sake of my teenagers, I'll stop watching this television so that they don't get this habit. Because, they are going to get this habit only from you. And they're going to sit around so much of time simply in the front of this, what we call as idiot box. And same thing goes to today for the social media. Many parents, when their children, they start, engaging a lot in social media, they realize that it's me who actually spoiled them. So therefore they tell me that now I'm going to get rid of my own social media. We'll make a rule at our home that whether you are of age 25 or 35 or 40 like us, or you are at the age of 10, 12 or 14, the same rule for everybody, and we are all going to follow that. Maximum half an hour of spending time on the social media, etc. So when you take such steps, actually you are becoming a good role model for your child, right? Whatever good you want to see in your child, my dear parents, in some or other way you have to show that example in your own self to your child. Okay, so let's go ahead. We talked about that allowing child to follow his passions, and Janardhan sir was also talking about this, and especially helping child to frame right dharmic purpose, social purpose, social cause. अरे कुछ अच्छा करने के लिए, इस संसार में अच्छे लोग कम हो गए हैं. पहले हमारे भारत में, इन दिस इंडिया, इट्स लैंड ऑफ धर्मा. बाबा, ये लैंड ऑफ धर्मा था. आज बच्चों को पता नहीं है राम कौन है, कृष्ण कौन है. आज मैं पूछता हूँ बच्चों से, I go around like meeting lot of teenagers. I ask them, so who has written the Gita? So who is? Do you know about Gita? I ask them, do you know about Gita? And people say, no sir. Is she good looking? So they think that Gita is the name of some girl, whereas I am talking about Gita means Bhagavad Gita. Do you know about Gita? So our children, they have stopped learning from Gita, Ramayana and Mahabharata. And who is responsible for it, dear parents? How are we going to cause a good generation of dharmic children, of people who are going to grow up contributing to this great country, contributing to this world? How are we going to give the right values to them? It's we as children, we as parents who will have to recognize the importance of reading and learning these scriptures. Parents, आप ये ध्यान दीजिए, अगर आप आपके बच्चों को एक धार्मिक पर्पस देना चाहते हैं, शायद आपको डेली पूजा रूम में बैठना पड़ेगा. Every day morning you have to start your day with paying obeisances to whichever deity you have at home. Probably every evening sitting together and reading 2 shlokas of Gita. ये सब करोगे तो बच्चा खुद ही करने लगेगा. He will start learning the good values through you. So this is one of the very important things which Shivaji's parents did. That, as I told, that Jijabai, who is the mother of Shivaji, every evening she sat and she was reading Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavad Puran, and singing the songs of the saints, devotional songs. Not जीने के हैं 4 दिन, बाकी है बर्बाद दिन. जब ये सिखाओगे बच्चों को, तो फिर वो यही करने वाले हैं, जीने के 4 दिन, बाकी बेकार दिन, तो जी लो. राइट? सो ये सब मत दिखाओ, ये सब मत सुनाओ, कुछ अच्छा सुनाओ. Correct? Sing some devotional songs which are filled with feelings of being good for people, feelings with praying to God. All these things are so wonderful, और ये हमको सिखाना पड़ेगा. खाली पैसा कमाने का नहीं है, हमें एक एग्जाम्पल सेट करना है घर पे. हमें खाली पैसा नहीं कमाना है, उनके लाइफ को पैसे के द्वारा अच्छा नहीं बना पाएंगे, वैल्यूज के द्वारा अच्छा बना पाएंगे. तो ये बहुत जरूरी है. आगे मैं चलता हूँ आपको. फिर हम बात कर रहे थे डीना बॉमरिंड की. डीना बॉमरिंड was a psychologist, and she actually she did a lot of research on how parenting happens, and she talked about the 4 types of parenting styles. Okay, so authoritarian, authoritative, permissive, and neglectful. In my own way, I'm explaining this to you, that if you want to understand these parenting styles, basically in any parenting style there will be 2 aspects which are diametrically opposite to each other, and they have to be balanced. 2 एस्पेक्ट होते हैं पेरेंटिंग के जो कि अपोजिट टू ईच अदर होते हैं, और उनको बैलेंस करके हमें चलना पड़ता है. अभी कितना बैलेंस आप कर रहे हो, व्हाट इज द बैलेंस व्हिच यू आर अचीविंग, बेस्ड ऑन दैट योर पर्टिकुलर पेरेंटिंग स्टाइल विल बी फॉर्म्ड. सो ब्रॉडली स्पीकिंग वी कैन से देयर आर 4 कैटेगरीज ऑफ पेरेंटिंग स्टाइल व्हिच आर इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. अथॉरिटेरियन स्टाइल इज अ स्टाइल वेयर देयर इज ऑफ बैलेंस, जहां पे बैलेंस नहीं होता, जहां पे लेस लव इज देयर एंड मोर डिसिप्लिन इज देयर. सो द 2 parameters which you have to balance in your parenting style is, on one side there is love, and on another side there is discipline. So discipline is not called as punishing. Please understand, if you read my book, I've given a lot of suggestions to the parents, but one of the things I talk about is discipline is not about punishing children. Discipline is about teaching children self-control. For example, teaching children the right behavior and guiding children to not continue to do something wrong which they are doing. Like a child is biting the nails, so you have to probably offer a correction. It is not that you have to slap a child, you know, you don't have to. So discipline is not about punishing. Discipline is not about humiliating the child. Disciplining is not about shouting on the child. Discipline is not about, you know, criticizing, condemning, or comparing the child. Discipline is about offering correction, which will basically help your child to get a better outcome in life, to teach a right habit to the child. Correct? So none of us adults, we learn when somebody slaps us. आपको अच्छा लगता है क्या? You know, your boss starts shouting on you. Do you start feeling, thank you, my boss, you are such a good boss, you have today given me a great scolding, and because of which my career will now become better? None of us will be actually pleased to hear a huge scolding or humiliation in front of others. मतलब मान लो your team lead or your manager, in front of all 20 people in your team, in your office, he starts shouting up and down at you. You are this, you are that. We will feel like, even if his words are correct, even if his words are absolutely correct, still we will feel so much hurt. So much hurt ki we will forget what he is speaking and we'll remember that he has humiliated us. The same thing happens with the children. So discipline, if you do discipline or you correct the child by slapping, by scolding, by making a drama, by humiliating in front of 20 people or comparing him with others, अरे उसका moral down हो जाता है. He locks that emotion of unhappiness in his heart or her heart, right? And then whatever good advice you are giving, that goes to sidetrack. So punishment is not called as discipline. Discipline means to offer a correction. And in my book, I have talked about how to offer a correction, and in one of the chapters, one full chapter is about how to give feedbacks to teenagers. So वो हम बाद में discuss करेंगे, आज नहीं, some other time. You can also read in the book. You can pre-order these books. They are going to give the link. You can pre-order it, and very soon, in 1.5 months, we are editing it and making it more wonderful for all of you, right? So we want to give you the very beautiful wisdom, but also in a very amazing way, you know. So therefore, just wait for some more time and you can get this book. But you can pre-order this book. You can also subscribe to this channel, where every month, at least once, we are actually talking live, and several videos are getting released, short videos, sometimes long videos, or whatever. You can learn a lot of parenting wisdom. And also your children, your teenagers can learn a lot of wisdom here on this channel. Just look out all those different videos which we have here, which probably could be helpful for you to teach your children as well, right? So yeah, coming back to the, you know, so the two aspects, the love aspect and the discipline aspect, both have to be balanced by a parent. Love means to provide for them, to offer, to fulfill their needs, to help them, to give affection to them, to give encouragement to them, to give appreciation to them, to give gifts to them, to do so much for them, you know. And discipline means giving feedback, giving correction, telling them at the right time not to do the wrong thing, you know. At the right time you have to tell not to do the wrong thing. So this is what all has to be balanced. Now, as I said, the four categories could be authoritarian, where there is no balance, there is less love, and there is more discipline. So here there is a problem here. We talk about more discipline and less love is authoritarian. Okay. Where there is more love, but there is also discipline. Not that discipline is not required. The discipline, as I have informed to you, that is very much necessary. In fact, in the teenage, it is very, very crucial. If you do not correct your child at the right time, it could be dangerous, actually, right? So therefore, more love and more discipline, both together. That's what we talk about authoritative. This is ideal. This is very good, and we are going to discuss some examples for this in some time. Then we have permissive, where there is a lot of love, but you don't discipline at all. You don't correct the person. You don't, teach them the right values. So that's called as permissive. And you already understood probably that it's off balance. And then there is less love and less discipline, where you probably don't pay attention to the needs of the children itself. So probably the parents have become an island and the teenagers have become another island, So two disjoint islands where they don't interact with each other. It's like neglectful parent. All right. So we talked about last time, we also talked about the authoritarian style, where, as you see, that the focus on discipline is too much. Punishment is employed, not discipline. I would say it's punishment which is employed quite a lot. And it's non-participative, where the children feel that I am getting choked up. So if you apply the authoritarian style, last time I also gave an example. I have so many examples which I've given in this book. Last time I also talked about one of the examples from this book which I'm giving, that it could be, say a girl, right? Say a boy or a girl, he comes home. Say a girl starts asking, requesting. I give an example here. Say a girl, a teenager girl, she comes to home and says, Father, you know what? My friend is enrolling in this dancing classes, and I really wish to learn dancing. I have been really wanting to learn this, and I have got an opportunity, and my friend will be also together with me. She's also dancing, and I also wish to dance, and she's 15 years old. Okay. And the father says, "No dancing. Your scores are going down. First, you concentrate on your physics, chemistry, and biology, your PCB, become a doctor. Dancing can be done later on." We don't want our child to become dancer. We want our child to become doctor, not a dancer, right? So, and that she feels, but daddy, you know what it is? I love dancing. I really wish, and it's classical dance. It's not some vulgar. How come you could speak back to your father? Never ever before in our generations has any of our children learned to ever speak like this with the father. The father, whatever it says, is best for you. Please understand, we the parents know the best for you, and you the children should listen and simply follow. No room for discussion. Because I'm exaggerating this, but this is tension. This is a tension which comes in the home, where the child feels, I am not being listened to. I am actually, my desires are not being listened to. I cannot be what I am. I cannot do what I want to do in this home. My parents are pushing down me. Okay, it's probably it's correct that the parents want something good for the children. The teenager, he's saying the father is concerned about the marks of the child, and he wants her to become a doctor instead of a dancer. My dear friends, my dear parents, please try to understand, if a child probably starts doing certain hobbies, like in this case, classical dancing for a girl is very good. She is not talking about some vulgar hip hop dance or something, right? She's talking about a classical dance with her other friends who are also girls. And I think it's really wonderful to be participating, because if she can have that desire of hers fulfilled, probably she can also pay better attention at her medical, whatever PCB she is studying. But now you have crushed her desires here. Do you think that she will be able to focus on her studies? Definitely not. It's going to be a trouble for her. And this is what we find day in and day out. So many examples of this, that the teenagers, they get a feeling of revolting against their parents because their desires are not heard. So authoritative style, the biggest problem is the child feels choked up. The child feels nobody is hearing me. Okay, you are in your sky and you know the best for me, but I think I also know something about myself. That's what the teenager starts feeling. That maybe you at least listen from me, give respect to me, give respect to my individuality, give respect to my own little desires. Okay, you are big, you are boss, you're going to crush me down. Then they also understand that when they become big, they will crush down others. They want to crush down others. Or at least with the parent, they will want to engage in some sort of rebellious attitude, because they are being pushed down, so they will also fire back. You see, you understand? So one who's pushed down, he'll fire back. That is what actually starts happening in such homes. And yeah, as I said, that this is not the best parenting style which you would want our parents to engage with, right? So the next parenting style here you will find is what you have is here, second parenting style on my slides, which is participative or authoritative. Okay, this is the authoritative style, where you do not pressurize your children. You want to listen to them. You want to discuss with the children, right? You want to hear from them, hear their views, their opinions. So in the example which I talked about, this girl, the authoritative style could be that, yes, my dear, my darling, my child, you do have, so you want to dance, but also I have a concern that you are not being able to pay attention on your studies. So when you discuss, when you do not have, you don't have a one-way communication, you discuss with your child, you understand your child, the child will understand you. Again, mirroring concept. See, because you are pushing down the child, correct? So the mirroring is, they will also push you back. You push them down, they push you back. You push them down, there's a power struggle between parents and the child. That is because of authoritative nature. They have learned that power struggle from you only. You are pushing them down, they will also push back. That's how mirroring happens, right? And also they may also pressurize others. You're pressurizing them, they will bully somebody else when they grow up. So that's not a very good thing which we want our children to learn, right? So mirroring concept you should remember. In authoritative, the second style where there is more love and more discipline also. Not that you don't have to discipline. Again, I said discipline is not about punishing, not about shouting, not about criticizing, not about condemning, not about comparing. It's about correcting. It's about offering good, in a healthy state of mind, offering feedback, offering advice, and encouraging the child towards the right behavior, right? So in this example of that girl, an authoritative parent, what he or she would do, like the father, they will want to discuss with the child. They will want to understand the child. They will respect the child's opinions. They will respect the child's desires. They will say, yeah, okay, darling, you want to dance. Okay, what exactly you wish to do? Where do you want to go? Do you have really a lot of interest? They will not shun them down. Or they will not be saying that we are hellower than the die. We are your parents, the super parents. We are. So that's not what they are actually depicting themselves to be in front of their children. So because the parent is trying to understand the child, what do you think the child will do? Now you only tell me that if the parent is trying to understand the child, how will the child mirror the parent? Right? I'm talking about the concept of mirroring. So how will the child mirror the parent? So they will also try to understand the parent. They will also, you want to understand the perspective of your teenager. The teenager will want to understand your perspective. You respect the teenager, teenager will respect you. You help the teenager fulfill his desires, the teenager will follow your desires also. It's very simple. It's very simple. It's mirroring. Correct? So they will be so happy and encouraged in their life that my parents are empowering parents, not pushing down authoritarian parents. Correct? So that's what will happen. So in this case, if the parent understands that, oh, my darling's heart, my sweetheart's heart isn't dancing, correct? Then the child, the teenager will understand that my father really wants to help me become a doctor. Right? And then the child will say, yes, my dear father, actually, I'm not able to pay attention on my studies because of this reason, that reason, this reason, whatever the reasons are, whatever the real reasons are. And my dear parents, one thing you have to understand, that in case if your daughter, let us say in this example, if your daughter is not meant to be a doctor, I believe for the benefit of her, for giving her the good life, we should not be pressurizing her to somehow or other become a doctor. It could damage her personality. Like there is a big session, maybe it will be in 2 sittings. We will discuss about how to help teenagers choose a profession or choose a career. And I think some months later, we will be discussing that. Also, you will find 2 full chapters on this in this book, which are basically discussing about how to help your teenager discover their passion and discover their purpose, or basically about career decisions. So that's what in the index on the contents page, if you see, you will find that I have talked on the part 4. Part 4 is talking about career decisions, help your teens discover their passion and purpose. So this is 2 chapters which I will discuss, and then on this YouTube channel, some months later, we will also discuss this. But just to add here some wisdom, if your daughter or your son is not meant to be a doctor or an engineer, for their good, for their own good, for helping them, achieve success in life, we should stop pressurizing them to become someone like that, right? We should help them be what they are. We have to find out their interests. We have to find out their talents, where they can exhibit their full potential. If it's in engineering, perfect. If it's in medical, perfect. If it's not, Don't pressurize. That's the point here. Okay. Because there are other professions. The point is, it's not that engineering, medical only. There are so many different professions. We'll talk about that later. Then continuing about the authoritative style of parenting. So we have also, they demonstrate instead of demanding respect. This is very, very important. They demonstrate how to give respect. I already told you, like in this example, if the parent respected the opinion of the teenager, the daughter who wants to go for dancing, then obviously the teenager understands, I have to respect my parents. Not just parents, I have to respect every individual. If you cannot respect your parents, I'm sorry, if you cannot respect your children, your teenagers, who are your teenagers, they're in your home. अगर आप अपने बच्चों को respect, आप किसको respect दोगे फिर? आप इतना प्यार करते हो जिसको, उसको respect नहीं कर सकते. You cannot respect your own child. How will you respect anybody in this world? Think about it. Or do we respect a person only when they fulfill our desire? Is that what we want to teach our children? That the individuals should not be respected if they don't fulfill your desire? Is it what we want to teach? So do we respect our children only when they totally agree to what we want? Or we respect them for who they are? They're an individual, right? Everybody in this world, every human being, every animal, every plant, every tree, we give respect to everybody. In this dharmic land of India, you respect, this is a respectful country. We say namaste, right? We say namaste to each other. We give respects to each other, right? Even the cow, even the dog in the street, everybody we give respect. We don't harm anybody. We don't want to pounce our authority on anybody, right? So it's a respectful country. It's a country which of culture, and culture means to respect every single person. In fact, the highest vision which you can have in life is everything emanates from God. And as they say in the Ishopanishad, I always tell this to people, the divine vision is what our scriptures talk about. Ishavashamedam sarvam yatkinchit jagatyam jagat, he says that, that Ishavasha idam sarvam, everything in this world is emanated from God. So therefore, it should be respected. Every single person in this world, whether a beggar, whether a male or a female or a child or an elder or a black or a white or rich or poor or diseased or healthy or whatever, in whatever state of existence they are, we should give our respects to them. Was Rama not showing respect to everybody, even to Guha, who was from a downtrodden community, even to Shabari? He's actually taking the fruit from Shabari, which has been tasted by Shabari. So was Rama not an example of giving respect to every single individual, actually, despite whatever their background was, right? So whether rich or poor, whatever. So this is what we should actually teach our children, respect. If you respect your child, my dear parents, please understand, if you respect your child, you respect the individuality of the child, you respect the uniqueness of the child, you respect the desires of the child, you respect the interests of the child, you respect the personality of the child, your child will learn to respect you throughout your life without your demanding the respect from the child. हम ही सिखाते हैं बच्चे को कैसे डिसरिस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए, और फिर हम क्राई करते हैं वो मुझे डिसरिस्पेक्ट क्यों करता है. That is a point. Please understand that. Please understand this vitality of the right parenting style mixed with our cultural understanding, which I am talking about, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. Let children take responsibility of their life. Correct. It's the children who are living their life and they have a right to live their life. Imagine, so what is the difference between a prisoner and a citizen? I want to ask this question. What is the difference between a prisoner who's inside the jail and a citizen who is free in the country? What's the difference? The difference is the citizen can live his life or her life and the prisoner can't. He has to wake at a particular time according to the jailers. He has to actually do whatever the jail keepers are talking about. He has to eat the certain type of food, although he may not want it. So all of these choices are governed by someone else. All the choices of a prisoner's life are not his own, basically governed by someone else. and that's why we put him in jail. It's a punishment. So similarly, our parenting should not become a punishment for our children. We are only deciding everything. Like many times, parents come to me and say, "Sir, you are doing so much social work, and we are so happy, and so many children are getting guidance from you. Sir, please tell my child, he should study maths. I've been telling he's not studying maths. Please tell my child, what is best for him. Please tell." So much. We were running hostel for 4 years in Kota. Kota is the coaching capital of India. And we have so many experience with so many parents talking so much eager to see that their children are becoming successful. Perfect, well and fine. I actually pay so much respect to all these parents because of their sincere desire to see their children are growing. I only want to tell my dear parents, it's not you who are going to study a subject. It's not you who is going to put the effort for a particular entrance exam. It's the child. Let the child decide what he is or she is going to study, not you yourself. If you want to become an engineer, you study. You study maths, you study physics, you study chemistry, fine, well and fine, if that's your interest is. But if that's not your child's interest, how can I say to your child that somehow study maths? He's going to study out of love for you, but he's not going to have a good life. His whole moral compass will go down. He will always keep considering himself as a failure. कितने सारे बच्चों को मैं देख चुका हूँ, आंखों में आंसू होते हैं, अपने पेरेंट्स के बारे में सोचते हैं, and they are thinking that I am not a good son, I am not a good daughter, I am not able to fulfill the desires of my parent. My parent wants me to be an IITian, my parent wants me to be a doctor, my parent wants to be me to be an IAS, but I am not able to. बेचारा अंदर ऐसा परेशान हो जाता है. अरे प्यारे पेरेंट्स, ये नहीं चाहते ना आप तो ये बिल्कुल नहीं चाहते ना, आप तो उसकी खुशी चाहते हो ना, तो उसको पुश मत करो. Let his life be his own life or her own life. जिसमें अच्छा है उसमें एनकरेज करो, है ना. अगर आर्ट्स में अच्छा है, डिजाइन में अच्छा है, किसी और चीज में अच्छा है, उसमें एनकरेज करो. वो वहां पे 100% मार्क्स भी ला सकता है, लेकिन इंजीनियरिंग में 40% लाएगा, फायदा क्या होगा. अरे आप ही उसको रोगे, उसको ले जाओगे, बोले उसको ही मारोगे, देख देख उसके इतने मार्क्स आ रहे, उसके इतने मार्क्स आ रहे, ये बोलना पड़ेगा आपको बेचारे को, है ना. तो ये अच्छा नहीं है. आप प्यार करते हो, मैं आपके साथ हूं, मैं आपको अपने बच्चे को सशक्त बनाना सिखाना चाहता हूं. आई वॉन्ट टू हेल्प यू गिव अ वेरी ब्राइट फ्यूचर फॉर योर चाइल्ड. दैट इज व्हाई वी आर गिविंग दिस पेरेंटिंग वेबिनार्स, राइट. सो दिस इज माय रिक्वेस्ट टू यू. उसके लाइफ है, उसी को जीने दो, डिस्कस करो. यस, वी शुड डिस्कस, नॉट दैट वी गिव देम फुल फ्रीडम कि कर ले जो कुछ करना है. नहीं भाई, गलती करते हैं वो लोग. एक बच्चा बोलता है अपने पेरेंट्स से कि पापा enroll me in the football team. I want to get in the football team of India. वो मैं करना चाहता हूँ एकदम football team of India. तो पेरेंट बोलते हैं यार you don't even play football. I don't see you playing football in the playground. वो तो करता नहीं. नहीं I want, my all friends are also wanting. I will also. Now the soccer season is there, football season is there. Enroll me in the best coaching of India, where the footballers are being trained. तो पेरेंट बोलेगा यार ये तो क्रश है, ये तो क्रेज है. Sometimes our teenagers go through such crushes and craze. Sometimes, especially we have not told them how to think properly on their own. Then they get influenced by the others, the friends, the media, the whatever season is going on. They get influenced by that because we have not helped them to think on their own. Independently thoughtful बनाना तो हमें ही सिखाना है ना उसको. हमें ही उसको सिखाना है. We only have to teach that child that you have your own desires and you are respected for your desires. You are respected for your individuality. You don't have to become anyone else. You have to be yourself. And I encourage you to become yourself. जब आप उसको independently thoughtful ऐसे बनाओगे ना, तो वो एक crush और craze इसमें घुसेगा नहीं. But in case you have not taught him, her, then he gets into that craze and this craze. Then we have to also obviously discuss, not that we completely give them that freedom that जो करना है कर ले भाई, ऐसा नहीं तो वो अपने आप को प्रॉब्लम में ला सकता है. But still, at the end of the day, the decision is going to be taken by the child. It is going to affect the child's life. इसीलिए उसकी life का decision उसके ऊपर डालो. Responsibility should be his. You mentor the child. So parenting of teenagers is more like mentoring, is more like counseling. It's not like I tell you what is to be done. It is not like that, है ना. So ये difference होता है. आगे हम देखते हैं. So I think you have learned a lot today. So let me just wind up by telling a few more things about other parenting styles. Affectionate but not pampering. Obviously, I explained through examples. Now, what is the other parenting style? Let's also see, because it may be prevalent in one of our family members, or it may be prevalent in society somewhere. So you should also know about that. You shouldn't become the victim of this parenting style, which is about permissive. So here the parent wants to fulfill each and every wish of the child. मतलब बच्चा बोलेगा तो parent करेगा ऐसा, you know. And they feel that this is love. This is love for the child, you know. Everything, every toy which my child wants, every, you know, any type of food which my child wants, any type of gift, any type of cloth, anything which my child wants, and I am gonna give him or give her. So this is not going to help. Like I see sometimes. So let us see what is in this. What are the characteristics of this parenting? First characteristic is they focus on being warm and caring to the extent of never disciplining. वो correction offer ही नहीं करते. They don't offer the corrections. They don't tell what is right and wrong. अरे तो बच्चे को अपने आप पता चलेगा क्या? नहीं ना, आपको बताना पड़ेगा. Sometimes there will be mistake. Sometimes, अरे hundreds and thousands of times your child will go wrong. Who is going to correct? You are only going to correct. But correction doesn't mean I told you. Please remember. ये आप याद रखो. हाँ, ये मैं आपको याद दिलाना चाहता हूँ. एकदम बिल्कुल एकदम आपके माइंड में, मेमोरी में ये बिठाना चाहता हूँ, है ना प्यारे पेरेंट्स. आप ये मान के चलो, disciplining is not scolding, shouting, you know, punishing, humiliating, comparing, like that, criticizing. This is not disciplining. Disciplining is about offering feedback, offering correction in a good mood, teaching him what to do right. This is what is correction all about. याद रखो प्लीज, ये बहुत मिस्टेक होता है इसमें. एक पूरा सेशन हम देंगे इसके ऊपर बाद में, ठीक है. You can tell me what sessions you want to hear from me, what topics I should make my videos upon. You know, अगर आप कुछ जानना चाहते हो, स्पेशली कुछ प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहे हो, आप उस क्वेश्चंस को लिखिए इस वीडियो के पब्लिश होने के बाद. In the comment section, you can tell your questions and I will definitely answer those questions in 24 to 48 hours. आपको जरूर मैं आंसर करूंगा. And also I will also know what type of videos you want to see published in this channel, and I will also publish those videos. So we are here to actually serve you parents, and different you can ask those questions to us in the comment section. To wind up today's program, I just want to tell you what is permissive and the last style, which is neglectful, and which you know that you shouldn't follow. So they don't correct the child only. They think that if I correct her, he will feel bad, so it will spoil my relationship. But you're not correcting the child, is spoiling the child himself. You are worried so much about your not spoiling a relationship, but your child is only getting spoiled. So relationship का क्या होगा? वो तुमको respect ही नहीं करेगा. He will take you for granted. You know, you are a yes man. You know, yes person to the child always. You know. So yeah, next point is obsessed with making children's life as easy as they can. तो कभी कभी क्या होता है, किसी फैमिली में इंडिया में ऐसा हो जाता है कि आई मीन इंडिया में क्या हर जगह हो जाता है, ऐसा होता है कि कभी कभी 4 years 5 years 10 years they had to wait for the child. तो इसीलिए इतना इमोशनल अटैचमेंट होता है ना चाइल्ड से. सोचते हैं इसको तो मैं एकदम बिल्कुल ना परी की तरह से पालूंगी. आई विल मेक हर लाइक अ फेरी, आई विल ट्रीट हर लाइक अ प्रिंस, ट्रीट हिम लाइक अ प्रिंस. सो ऐसा अच्छा है, सेंटिमेंट बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन बाबा पेरेंट हो आप उसके नौकर नहीं हो, आप उसके फ्रेंड नहीं हो, आप उसके चापलूस नहीं हो. You are a parent, and the parent has to do disciplining. अगर वो एस्पेक्ट नहीं रखोगे, there will be a lot of problems. Correct? Let's see further. Yeah, so pampering. Let me give you an example. That like kabhi kya hai, for example, like a boy came back home and he is not studying properly. He's saying to the parent that, oh, these teachers are all bad only, my school is also very bad only, my friends are also bad only, and my grades are also bad only, but not because of me, because of all of them. And he's saying this homework is also bad only, so much difficult, so much homework I cannot do. And the parent, the mother and the father is saying, oh, beta, parent, the teacher is calling the parents, saying your child is not doing any homework only, not studying only, he's missing the class only. And you are telling, hey, no, my child is the best, he is very good. Yeah, he might be actually a little confused. No, I will see that he is getting good marks, don't worry. So the parents, they sit down and they start doing the homework. They start, beta, koi baat nahi, no problem, You can go to the party, no problem. You can enjoy life, no problem. We will do solve your homework. तो बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. अरे भाई उसको डिफिकल्टी फेस करना तुम सिखाओगे नहीं. आज उसको स्टडीज बोर लग रहा है, कल उसको जॉब बोर लगेगा. क्या तो उसका जॉब करने आप जाओगे क्या ऑफिस? You will go to the office to do his job. Okay, now you can do homework, which is homework. Home में work करते हैं इसीलिए homework होता है. लेकिन class work तो नहीं कर सकते ना आप. The class work, the learning, which is what he has to do in the class, that too you cannot do. That the work which he has to do in the office work, that too you cannot do. So you should not. This is not a good parenting style when you are making your children's life too easy. अरे failure होगा उसको सीखेगा. उसका responsibility उसी को लेने दो. You make him sit. You tell him that if you need some help, we are there for you. We can also help you, offer you a little bit help, or maybe we can help you to get some teacher, good teacher also. But beta, learning responsibility तो तुमको ही लेना पड़ेगा, है ना? ये आपको देना, उनको responsible बनाना है. We don't want our children to become like irresponsible fools and thinking that पूरा I मौज करूंगा, like that. That is not possible only ना. अरे वो तो हम बनाना ही नहीं चाहते अपने बच्चों को irresponsible. तो क्यों बनाओ? You see, they will mirror it. If you are behaving like this, that you are trying to, always become like a yes man, etc. with them, they also feel like they don't understand when to correct themselves. They also feel everything is okay. It's okay to even drink also. It's okay to even smoke also. They also don't know how to put boundaries. You have not put boundaries wherever it was necessary. They also don't understand that boundaries are necessary in life. ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. So actually शायद हम parents ही कुछ गलत सिखा देते हैं अपने बच्चों को. So that's why please note that it's a wrong parenting style. And the last one which I just want to go through with you is neglectful. अभी neglectful तो आप समझ गए. मतलब the parent is so busy in his own or her own life that he or she has no time with the child. And the child is left on his own to deal with all the problems and struggles and emotional troubles and ups and downs of life on his own or her own. And that is very, very bad actually, right? Totally neglecting an uninvolved parenting style. When there is no affection also and no discipline also, you're totally uninvolved. So emotionally uninvolved parents. There are many times, sometimes, as I think in one of the other videos also I talked about, that the father has gone for office, the mother has gone for office, and they're so busy in their own life. And the poor child is simply not knowing what to do with his emotions. He wants, there is a survey which was done, and the survey, it was like, I think in America or somewhere. There they found that they asked this question that what do you want when you come back to home? When the teenager was asked the question, what do you want when you come back to home? And they said that at least one of the parents should be waiting for me to give the love, so that I can spend time, so that I can tell what was my day, what happened in my day, what are the ups and downs, what are my moods, etc. I want to be the parent to be involved in my life. You see, but the problem is many times that the parents have no time only. So probably both of the parents are working and they are thinking that I want to give the best to my child. But what is happening to the child? He is feeling that you are emotionally uninvolved in their life. But ऐसे बच्चों का क्या होता है? They will go outside and they will seek love outside. इसीलिए जो love affairs जो होते हैं, correct? Love affairs in a teenage. Also, the children, because they're emotionally neglected, they seek emotional shelter. And there are boys and girls who are more grown up than them, and sometimes they even get into the smoking, drinking, drugs, so many other things, violent behavior, so many things actually. When they're feeling uninvolved by their parents, emotionally unhappy because the parents are not showing affection and care and love and attention, then they will seek that love, attention, care, etc. outside, but they will be bullied. The chances today that if your child is not feeling love from you is that he will definitely find somebody to bully him or her outside the home. Why outside the home? So there is a social media bullying. So it is, I think it was every 3 out of 10 children are socially bullied on the social media. They are seeking relationships in the social media. Why? Because they are not seeing relationship with the parents. The parents are either either neglectful, or they are authoritarian, or they are permissive. It doesn't engage the child's emotions properly. Therefore, one of the right parenting styles which can engage the emotions of the child is the authoritative parenting. Okay, so I think we can end here just 2 minutes more. I'll just end, and if you have questions, you can see. Which is solving their own problems of life. Only provide basic necessities: roti, kapda, makan, or school. No, basic necessity: roti, kapda, makan, school. So, but more than that, they're not involved. They don't give emotional support, as I'm saying. So, this could lead a big problem, as I talked about, and therefore we don't recommend this parenting style to you. Today, we have understood that it is the authoritative parenting style, which has a very good balance of love and discipline. We also understood that how participative the parents should be while making any decisions for their children, and especially the reign of life. The decisions of life should be actually taken by the children only. The role of a parent in the teenage becomes more like a mentor or a counselor than as a parent who knows everything and who is going to dictate everything to the child. So we have learned a lot today, and I think this should be good enough. I am very grateful for your kind presence. Please know that every month, one Sunday evening, you can block your calendar. We're going to release it. It always gets published many days before on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe to get notifications for what we are actually doing. And please take benefit and advantage of this service. If you like today's program, please tell to others, invite others, spread the wisdom about parenting to all others, different people, your own family, relative circle, your friend circle, your corporate circle, different people. And we are very thankful for the opportunity you gave us today to serve you. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I can spend 5 minutes answering.
Thank you, sir. So I'll quickly go into the first question in interest of time. So the first question is, how is it possible in this pandemic situation that we can engage our children in social services? So he had mentioned at the start that we should engage our children in social services so that they learn about the world. So how
Yeah.
can this be done in a pandemic situation? Is there any scope within Arjuna? So this question is by Padmaja Marilla.
Yeah, there is a lot of scope. In fact, don't you think that the scope has increased due to the pandemic? Because when there is, as they say, that wherever there is a greatest need, there is greatest opportunity to progress. There is greatest amount of mercy which you are going to receive through that involvement also. So pandemic time is a time where the world is actually facing such trouble. So there are more people needing help. So don't you think that this is a time when you could really involve your children in so much of social work according to their interests? As I said, it has to be guided. Obviously, we don't want to throw our children into challenges, a pool of challenges. We don't want to do that, obviously. But we also want to help them appreciate the life, learn from the challenges of life, right? So yes, Arjuna does offer a lot of services. We have like mentoring programs. We have so many different types of services. You could be contacting us. I think they will be sending a form, a feedback form. You could be contacting us. Your child can enroll. If they are interested, they can enroll in different types of services which we hold right now. We have we also are starting a program where we are teaching, like whatever you have learned, you can teach it to someone else. We are starting that type of programs, right? So say your child is in 10th standard or 12th standard, he or she could be helping somebody who is in the earlier standards, right? So because he or she is good at, let's say, designing, or let's say maths, or let's say chemistry, or let's say whatever, she could be teaching another one or two students, mentoring them, right, on the subject which he or she is good at. So this helps the child improve his or her potential, at the same time do the service to those others actually. So a lot of mentorship, a mentoring program is what we are actually launching, and we are already having in some small way. And yeah, okay, so I think this is the short answer to this question. We can have one more question.
Yes, sir. So there is one more question. I am interpreting the question a little bit. It's not clear from the text, but it seems like the question is this by Dammu Srinivas. Nowadays, because of pandemic times, there is a lot of stress on students, and there is two things possible. One is that they try to learn and understand from the internet. At the start, you had mentioned that we should not be allowing students to spend too much time on the internet browsing, etc. So
Yeah.
one option is to try and allow them to learn from their online classes and from their online help. Other option is that parents actually try to train the students themselves so that they don't spend so much time online. So which of these is better? So this question is by Dammu Srinivas.
Okay, so the simple thing is, I talked about that I didn't say that the children should not spend time with social media. I just didn't say that. I said that even the parents shouldn't do that. I said the culture of the house should be, why waste time in just social media and simply online impersonal things? Why not interact with human beings? Why not interact with physical, human beings? Correct. So that's what I was talking about. Spend time with your children, maybe playing with them, maybe teaching them, maybe doing so many things. Correct. Of course, I also talked about they could go out of home in a limited environment where you feel it is safe. Even during the pandemic time, I told about the neighborhood, probably wherever you feel safe. Correct. The safety circle you have to observe, like where there are so many colonies. Sometimes in the colonies neighborhood, they're just next door, next door. So you feel comfortable in that. Fine. That's how people actually interact with each other. So this is what I would suggest. And I have already seen this happening in the streets of India. Although the lockdown is there, but in the streets of India, people do come out and just outside the home, they are playing, they're doing some activity. It happens because otherwise the people will get totally bored. So that's what I meant to say, that the culture of being online can be removed from the home. The culture of sitting in front of television for long hours can be removed from the home in the interest of the children. That's what I meant to say. Now the question comes, how do we teach our children? So only parents cannot teach. There is a saying that it takes a village to actually grow a child. And I want to make you understand the gravity of this statement. Please don't think that the child is only going to learn from parents, especially when they've entered the teenage. The teenage is the time when nature has given the mindset to the teenager to explore relationship outside of home. This is the mindset given by the nature. Why? Because the fact of life is that sooner or later they are going to interact with the larger world on their own. Is it not true? When they start going for the college, let's say you give like engineering college or medical college or whatever. So most likely they're not going to be the same city. They are going to be in some different city, maybe different state altogether, or probably for higher studies, you may even send your child abroad. So they have to interact with the world. They have to take responsibilities of life. You cannot overly protect them, isn't it? So therefore, Mother Nature herself has given the mindset to the teenager to explore relationships outside of the family. So if you want to confine your child to yourself, to the small family, they will not actually listen to you. I'll tell you very plain truth. They are not going to listen to you. If you do, if you kind of control them that no, you can only have us, you cannot have anybody else in your life. That's not going to be healthy. What you can teach them? You can teach them how to make good friends. You can teach them who you should make friendship with, whom you should not make friendship with. And here I'm not talking about A, B, C, and D, the names. I'm talking about characteristics. What are the characteristics of a good friend? What are the characteristics of those who could be bullying them or who could be harmful for them? This is the responsibility of the parent. In fact, they could still go do one more step further. If the child is making some friendships, you could also entertain those same people, bring them to your home, go to their home. I mean, we live in a community, right? We live in the world. We have to be, as they say, that man is a social animal. We need relationships. We need society, not just the small family. So especially teenagers will explore relationships outside of family, and we should help our children develop such relationships in the right manner, not restrict them, but rather help them develop such relationships, and they will learn from those relationships. Probably they will become more grateful to you after understanding the world, after seeing how the other boy is not respecting him or whatever. There is a lot which you learn in the human dynamics and relationships, right? So this is what I can say. I hope that I have understood the question properly. In case if I miss something I have not addressed, you can ask back. I can answer that again.
Yes, sir. So just I think one thing maybe it was not so much described is regarding the school education. Like, should parents help them more, or like should they be left to discuss with their peers online like that?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, for the education, please understand. uh, I mean, the parent is not expected to be expert at each subject which the child is learning. First of all, I'm talking about teenage group. I'm not talking about small children. Okay, suppose the children are so small, like 4 or 5. I think the parents, there is no way other than the parents' involvement. I mean, the parents have to be involved a lot, and they have to teach the A for apple and B for boy and so many other things. Correct. So in fact, the first teacher, as they say, the first teacher for a child is mother only, and mother and father are first teachers. So as when the child is a toddler and a small baby, or childhood, as I say, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, that time the involvement has to be there. That's so natural, and the child never objects. But as the child grows, when they have come to 12 year, 13 year, 14 year, 15 year, 16 year, 17 year, 18 year, 19 years, this age and beyond, the more the parent is going to exercise their authority, especially on education, the lesser the encouragement the child will get. You have to give freedom to that child at that time. So yes, it's true, maybe the parent should sit sometimes, let's say once a week, or sometimes, to have a discussion about how the education is going on. But it should be more or less of asking questions from the child, what he or how he or she wants to organize his or her education. It's not about directing, it's about understanding the child where he or she is facing problems, and then guiding the child to find out the solutions himself or herself. In case the solutions are not coming up from the child, okay, we can talk about our experiences, how we would be actually handling the problems. I want to ask you, the parents, जब आप teenager थे, जब आप 14 साल के थे, 15 साल के थे, did you really find it interesting when your father or mother would sit on your head and say, "Pad, lik, ye kar, wo kar"? I mean, I'm simply asking you. You tell me your experience. What was it? I would not be very encouraged that my father or mother would always hang around my head. In fact, they gave me a free hand, therefore I could get into IIT. Right? I could explore myself. I liked certain textbooks. And my own liking, I chose my subjects. I chose PCM not because of my father or mother, but because I like them, right? So similarly, dear parents, आपका बहुत important role है, लेकिन वो role micro manage करने का नहीं, over involvement करने का नहीं है. तो अगर बच्चे को कुछ प्रॉब्लम आता है तो उसको समझो और let encourage the child to solve his problems himself. अगर नहीं होता है, let him ask you for help. Not that you extend your help even before he is asking. Right? Let him ask. You tell I am available. And another thing is, we don't expect the parents to have expertise on the syllabus of the child. They may not be. So they obviously let them go to the friend. There are friends also, and they will solve their problems on their own. Encourage them for that. The mentorship between as I'm talking about, the mentorship between the children themselves, the teenagers themselves. Right? Say a 16-year-old could be helping a 14-year-old. 18-year-old could be helping a 16-year-old. They will learn better. They will understand each other's problem better. They are up to date with whatever the problems are. अरे आपको क्यों इतना सरदर लेना अपने सर पे? हाँ, ये है. You teach the child how to be in a good friendship. What is good friendship? What are good values? Who are good friends? Who are not good friends? ये सब समझाना बहुत जरूरी है. So I think that's the overall answer I would like to give. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. That was actually from many angles it was given. It was a very nice answer. Yes. So now we are just at the last part of our presentation, and actually, as we promised, there'd be a small announcement. It'll take just a minute. So first things, we'd like to thank everybody who joined us. As we mentioned, we are going to collect your feedback. We request that you please let us know how this session was. Please let us know what are the things you would like to hear from us in the future. Any other feedback in that regard. And also, please don't forget that we are going to be opening a link for pre-ordering this book, Parenting Teenagers for Wholesome Success, by Mr. Amal M. Das. Sir has written this, sir is working on this book, and if you wish, you can pre-order this book on this form. The form will be shared on the chat, the YouTube chat. Next is, we have already published 2 books which are directly for the students. This is Art of Concentration in the Age of Distractions. I personally read this book myself in 2014. And the other book is Time Management for Students Who Value Their Time. So both of these books are actually very excellent for teenagers who are preparing for competitive exams. And for all parents who have attended this webinar, we are going to be providing these books at a discounted price. So we'll be sharing the book purchase form in the YouTube chat, and in that, if you enter the coupon code as Arjuna21, you will be able to purchase a book which is usually available at rupees 200 at rupees 149. So that's Art of Concentration. Similarly, Time Management will be slashed from 400 to rupees 299. There is no delivery charges. So that's all for our announcements. We thank all of you who have joined us, and we hope to see you in the next session. And we hope that you won't be alone and you'll be bringing your friends with you. Thank you so much.